Hey everybody. I hope y'all having a good weekend. Okay, so we're back for Love and Marriage Huntsville season 5, episode 6. We need a resolution. We need a resolution. We did not get one. This episode has been like the rest of this season 5. Dry, dry, dry. The only episode where we got any action was last episode. All right, y'all are grasping at straws over there. Own. I need y'all to get it together. So when the show starts off, we get Tiffany and Destiny. Tiffany met Destiny at Madani. Tiffany is forgettable. I'm over her. Her and her husband. Like, just bring somebody else on. And by bringing somebody else, I do not mean Stormy. All right, so Destiny talked about the two uninvited guests, which we know were Stormy and Mel. And I want Tiffany, please stop asking questions like you didn't hear about this. There is no way in hell you are on this Love and Marriage Huntsville cast and you didn't hear about this stuff. There was no way in hell you were hooked in social media following these people following you, and you didn't hear about it. That was so fake. That was so fake. That town barely has enough population to even gather demographics, okay? Moving on. So she claims she got apologies from mostly everybody except for Mel, it seems like. And I'm just gonna stick with this. This Mel claiming she spoke. Mel at somebody's event, that doesn't count. When you are showing up to someone's event, a high Destiny as if she's a guest is bullshit. It's bullshit, and it was disrespectful, and it was on purpose. And you showed up uninvited. No, you need to give her a hello, a congratulations. And Destiny probably didn't hear it, but I still, even if she did, I still thought the way Mel acted was whack. All right, and it's not about liking Destiny and disliking Destiny. And I don't even have to give out that disclaimer. What Mel did was messed up. Next, Kimmy, Maurice, and Tisha, and eventually Marceau show up. All right, Kimmy and Maurice's house. All right, so Tisha and Marceau, apparently, because Tisha can't help herself, she comes in telling their business, talk about how her and Marceau had a fight last night about the fight that was in the parking lot. Them poor kids in that house. Lord have mercy. So Tisha and Marceau. So Tisha asked Maurice to talk to Marceau because apparently she doesn't feel like she can take it anymore with him talking to her any old kind of way. Tisha, cut it out. Your mother talks to you like you are some chick off the street. She's disrespectful to your husband. Okay, yes, your husband, I do. In my opinion, I do think he disrespects you. I also think you disrespect him by what you put up with from your mother toward him. Okay? But we know you're not going nowhere. Anyway, and he not either. All right? Martell and Marceau, at least according to Marceau, and I caught this at the beginning before I got my evidence later. Supposedly, according to Marceau, squash things logically like men do. I was like, you don't shut the fuck up. Get the fuck up out of here. That petty ass shit y'all do. Anyway, so if Wanda can't control herself, she can't be around Marceau. That's what Marceau says. Okay, Wanda's been not controlling herself. It sounded like he paused a second when he said, well, if Wanda can't control herself, she can't be around me. And I feel like what you wanted to say was she can't be on the cast. What he wanted to say, I'm not going to help her be a part of this cast if she can act like this on TV. Okay? But see, you can't say that. So I think he paused and was like, okay, I got to make this sound real for this reality TV stuff that's not real. All right. So they've been married 15 years. You've been dealing with it this long. Marceau, Tisha, cut it out. I'm so tired of them having the same petty fights. I'm tired of them having the same petty fights, and then we are subject to it when all we're trying to do is get entertained on a Saturday night. All right. Tisha is very sensitive. Marceau is very sexist. I think Marceau loves Tisha. I think Tisha loves him. But Tisha is sensitive with everybody, though. Things hurt her feelings easily. And Marceau, you know that. But Tisha was damn sure right about not working with Martell. And Marceau is stupid for trying to work with him. And that's what makes, if we were following the logic of the show, that Martell must have something on you. if you keep trying to work this out. But maybe they don't. But, it just seems weird. It seems weird. All right, so we get Mel and Martell. And this was kind of an encouraging scene, I think. They meet up. Mel said... I want this to be the last episode we have to talk about this. Mel said that she did say hi to Destiny. And Martell said, well, Destiny said you didn't. And Mel... And this is the last time I'm going to say it's in this video. Mel, that hi was dry as hell. And you did not speak to her for real, for real. And you were at her event uninvited. Okay? It was wrong. You were wrong. That incident was wrong. Own it. You shouldn't have showed your black ass up there. All right? Now, her and Martell sit there and chill on the patio and go over the fight. I guess somebody in the back was like, because it just seems so... Never mind. So they come to the conclusion that it doesn't matter what happens. They have to defend each other because they're family, because they're 4 kids. And quite frankly, that's what I meant by an encouraging scene. Because at the end of the day, that's true. I'm not married, but I know the bond that goes into marriage. And people who have kids, even after they're divorced, people don't typically get divorced because they're happy or do it amicably. I mean, it's rare. I don't really believe people when they say that. But nevertheless, whatever that bond is, that's why that ex-wife or that ex-husband will often come to the aid of them out of nowhere. If somebody calls them and says, hey, such and such happened, why they come to the defense of that person? Because they have something between each other that even with a formal break in that relationship, paperwork, so on and so forth, with children, they will still be family at the end of the day. What hurts the kids hurts both of them. What helps the kids essentially will help both of them. All right? Was it me or did Martell's shorts look like drawers? They look like with their polka dots on it. I'm like, who is dressing this? Never mind. Wanda is clearly central to the tension and the problem. I didn't need no show or no rundown for that. So then you get Stormy and Tiffany. Once again, another 4th scene. And Stormy had too many scenes in this episode for me. And if Stormy becomes a major part of this cast, I cannot watch it. So Stormy, you are not trying to be friends with Tiffany. Okay? You're trying to solidify a position on the cast. And as much as I, try not to go in on people's looks and everything else, and we can all pick each other apart, Stormy is ugly. And I don't want her to do any more close-ups. I don't like the way her lips nearly touch the tip of her nose for no reason. I just don't like it. And she's not a nice person. See, I would let it slide if I felt like she was a decent person. I wouldn't say nothing about her looks. No. Then Stormy said nobody can call her ratchet anymore because Miss Wanda, she's never seen an older woman act like that. Stormy, you are absolutely right. That is not the way older women should act. Certainly not nobody's grandmother. Or mother for that matter. Or person for that matter. But you are ratchet. And then to be as catty and as nasty as you were in that confessional, to say that fight was the most attention Madani had received as a business, and therefore Destiny should be thankful, only reinforces 1, how fake she is, 2, how disingenuous she was when talking or communicating with Destiny with that Gucci bag and I support black businesses. Like I said before, if Stormy believed in supporting black businesses, she would have made arrangements to get her products in her store. Period. Hard stop. And even though she said later in the episode, well, it wasn't at the forefront of my mind and I had a different distributor. Now see, that would be reasonable, right? Those kind of things happen. But my thing is, you didn't show up to that launch and mention that. You didn't try to reach out to this. You was trying to fight her at a Galentine's event. Girl, bye. Next, you get this image of, this back and forth with Martell and Chris. Although I feel like what I'm about to say is blasphemy. I don't mean it to be. Is it just me or does Chris give Denzel Washington tease? Like, he's not, don't get me wrong, he's not fine like Denzel Washington. But just something about him reminds me of Denzel Washington. That's what I think every time I see him. But anyway, Martell was talking to him, and Martell said everybody knows by now. He's talking his confessional, right? Everybody knows by now Huntsville was voted #1 city to live in. I was like, by who? Did I miss this? Was this a joke by who? Bossip? The CW? UPN that don't even exist no more? Because I'm convinced you got these imaginary statistics. Sister to Sister magazine? Hype Hair magazine? Like, what the hell? Who did the list? I want people in Huntsville to just stop acting like this town, this horse and carriage town. Didn't we see Martell and Mel actually in a horse and carriage? Anyway, it's a real, like, hot spot. Cut it out. Just because cameras are there does not make it hot. Anyway, Martell clearly walked away from the conversation. You remember the one that Marceau told us about at the beginning of the episode when he was at Kimmy and them's house? Martell clearly walks away from this conversation feeling completely different, as we see revealed in this conversation with Chris. And he said he's not working with Marceau. And I'm going to say this, Martell did seem really resolute about that. Like, I'm not working with him. And then for me, it begged the question. I said, maybe Melody has to pay him child support now. Can he afford not to take a job? And he's looking to buy a new house because his lease is almost up. Martell, I'm going to need you to get a job. I'm not talking about a reality show job. I need you to get some business about yourself. Okay? And this is why I feel like even though with the event, Mel, wrong. Mel is the only one that has anything going on. Which is why I think she ends up being the focus of so many people's dislike. Okay? Anyway. So then Stormy and Destiny meet up. Okay. Now, she has this beauty warehouse. I couldn't understand what the fuck she was saying. I don't know what it's called. Kent Kirk. I don't care. There is nothing about Stormy that will relieve her of that country ghetto combo. Her behavior, the way she acts, the way she jumps into things that have nothing to do with her, just won't release her from it. She can wear her glasses. She can find a pencil skirt. She can get all dressed up. And like my father used to say, you can put a pig in a tuxedo with a crisp white shirt, a nice bow tie, and a top hat. And the first mud hole they find, they're going to jump back in it. And that's how class works. Or doesn't if you don't have it. You jump back in mud holes. Despite what you have earned, because ain't no amount of money in the world can buy you class. Okay, now that I'm off that. So, she said, Destiny said that she would have preferred her products, and she's talking about Stormy's hair products, in her store, like, some kind of contractual, whatever, instead of a Gucci bag. I don't think that's unreasonable. That's not unreasonable. So Stormy explains how or why there was miscommunication and breakdown with the business between them. Honestly, it sounded believable. But once again, her nasty behavior, the laughing in the confessional about how she doesn't have any business, that to me just made it seem like bullshit. And then she's sitting up here talking to Destiny about, well, Mel, da-da-da-da-da. Stormy, baby, okay? Girl, just because y'all don't like the word, apparently. Both you and Mel were uninvited. It was rude. It was rude. It was rude. I don't want to hear about how Destiny's tough. Destiny's the Tin Man. Destiny has all this masculine energy. Destiny does not have masculine energy like that. And I don't appreciate that. I don't think Destiny should have said that about herself. I don't get that. I get that she's protective of herself because of probably what she's been through. I don't know nothing about it. She's not even my favorite person on the show. But that's not the point. Y'all showed up uninvited and it caused a mess. That's why she was in a bad mood. It's something that was supposed to be special for her. I'd be upset too. What you owed her was an apology, not an explanation for why you decided to do what you did. She deserved an I'm sorry. I screwed up. I won't do it again. And let's see how we can actually work together. That's what you owed her. And was her office ghetto as hell? It looks like, like living in New York for so long, It looked like when you start transitioning out of Manhattan into the Bronx uptown, and those old graffiti things that are on the side of the train station walls were there, but they were only reinforced with pop color, like pink and green. And it just looked, I mean, granted, you can say, oh, it's somebody's office. Fuck it. It's on our television screen, and I'm judging. All right, anyway. Okay, with your Bronx painted office, we know you shit probably only flew over New York as a layover to come back to Huntsville for wherever you went. Anyway, so Tisha and Marcel at Black. This is where the episode ends. So vlogger, apparently Funky Dineva shows up. He called it a podunk country town. I told y'all it was podunk. I'm from Georgia. That's the word we use when something is so country, right? And it is what it is. Like I said, cameras don't change that. OWN ain't gonna change that. That's what it is. Honestly, that's the read. That's the dig. That people watch this show to laugh at how country it is. And these people think they are the shit. Somebody like Stormy, I cannot see her being successful nowhere else. And by successful, I mean being able to have all these things and be popular with her products. Anyway, I guess all the people who went to Alabama A&M that still live in Huntsville, that was from Huntsville, buy her products. Anyway, Marcel's lying ass said things in Huntsville were low key. Honestly, even as I'm saying he was lying about like trying to cover up the recent incident, most things should be low key because nothing is there. They are not going to convince me because the city has done some public works jobs. Not the city, the town. The horse and carriage town did some public work stuff that somehow, oh, it's been low key and that's unusual for Huntsville. There's nothing happened there except for this stuff with this show. All right. And then Funky Dineva. This is what gets on my nerves about people. I do not like these misogynistic comments. Funky Dineva was saying like, see, you women don't realize how y'all put men in dangerous situations. What? What? People make poor decisions everywhere they go. That is not a male thing. That is not a female thing. And I have never heard him rush into anybody's physical defense when it comes to women. I've actually heard him threaten violence against women. Now, whether he was saying it in jest or not, I don't think those things are funny. So I didn't like that. I don't like that misogynistic approach to things like, oh, women do this. Now, granted, we could have just been getting clips. I don't care. I didn't like it. So then he goes on to say, it looks like your mom fights your battles and you're complicit in it. Now, that much I agree with. And he said you need to tell your mama to shut the hell up and mind her own business and to draw the line and tell her she can't come around there no more. That's not going to happen. And I do think comments like that are usually... Now, granted, I do think there is a level of toxicity to the fact that, you know, you can't say this and say that. And that, as far as I'm concerned, there always needs to be an amount of respect for your parents. I do. But having respect for them does not mean not drawing lines. And Tisha needs to draw some lines. Because it's stressing you out. I can tell. It's stressing her out. It's stressing your husband out. And that's going to trickle down to your children. But we also know that talking to her mama like that ain't going to work. Miss Wanda has been given too much access for too long. And that's something Tisha got to fix. But I don't see her taking advice from a vlogger just because, because she don't listen to nobody when it comes to her mama, except for her mama. Anyway, that was the episode. This is going to be a dry ass season. It's all based on this one build up to this one episode and everybody talking about it. I want all of them to just good night, y'all.